All right, and welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, the Washington Commanders defeat the Dallas Cowboys and secure the sixth seed in the NFC. Right now, the Washington Commanders are looking to see if they're going to be playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or they're going to be playing the Los Angeles Rams. I think that that is going to come down to if the Rams win that game. I think that they are going to be in the third seed, if I'm not mistaken, which means the Washington Commanders would be traveling to go see the Los Angeles Rams in the first round of the playoffs. If they lose, this means that the Washington Commanders would go against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is right where they started this NFL season. So how ironic is that if that does happen? But let's go ahead and let's break down really just the key performances from today's game, because once again, the Washington Commanders show you that this is a gutsy football team. They understand how to finish games. And this is what you have got to love about the Washington Commanders, because we've heard this phrase a lot in sports and in life, that it's not how you start, it's how you finish. This team knows how to finish. You can only imagine, once this team really puts it together for a full 60 minutes, how dangerous it is going to be. But let's go ahead and jump into just the key takeaways from today's game. And so you'll see that Marcus Mariota had to play today, because he came in, and it looks like that Jaden Daniels, from what I read here on CBS Sports, it doesn't look like he was injured. I think that what happened here is ultimately the Commanders decided to go ahead and rest Jaden Daniels. Obviously, we already had the playoffs in the bag here, but went ahead, put Marcus Mariota in, and he did his thing today, because his first 5 passes for 60 yards, and then he got a touchdown to Zach Ertz, and he was electric for us today. I mean, he had a really huge 4th down run, which really helped set this team up for the go-ahead score, in which he hit Terry McLaurin on a beautiful fade route. And I just remember saying, okay, 6 seconds to go. You have enough time to go ahead and throw the fade. That's exactly what they did. They went to their main guy, Terry McLaurin. He catches it, and that seals the ball game. And so he played fabulous today. He came in, showed some good composure, 161 yards and 2 touchdowns, only sacked twice. You see, he had 141 rating today. So that was good to go, good to see. And then with Jaden Daniels, look, it was kind of rough at the start. He was kind of flat. I think the offense in general was just kind of flat today. So I don't think that that's anything against, just Jaden Daniels or anything like that. I just think that it was just a slow start. This is something that I talked about in the pregame with this team, that it needed to get off to a fast start. And once again, they just weren't able to do so. But anyway, you have got to give Mariota a lot of credit for coming in and taking care of business today. He also had 5 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown there. Talked about the key 4th down run. That was huge. And so you do see that Jaden Daniels 4 for 27. But now I want to look at some players that I think really stepped up and I think are going to play a really big part in this playoff run. And so starting with Austin Eckler, you got a chance to see the pregame show where I was talking about Austin Eckler is back and how that is going to help this team and really help this offense become even more dynamic. And so today, you see he had 3 carries for 12 yards, but he averaged 4 yards a carry, which that's good to see coming back from the long layoff. But he was critical in the receiving game, because he had 2 receptions for 20 yards. He was, second on the team as far as the average, with the 10 yards on the average there. 14 was his longest. And so I think that Austin Eckler is going to be huge for this team. Again, I talked about the veteran presence, and that goes right into my next part in Zach Ertz. And so Zach Ertz, look, he's been heating up here as of late. He had 5 targets. He had 5 receptions, 44 yards, a touchdown here. And I think quietly, he is starting to really heat up for this team and really be there in the critical moments when this team is really needed it. And so I think you're going to start to see that veteran presence really play a big factor as this team now goes into these playoff games where we know the stakes are high. And so that was good to see that our veterans stepped up today. Zacchaeus, look, even though he had 2 receptions for 51 yards, 29 was his longest, and he had 5 targets, He almost caught a touchdown pass from De'Ami Brown. Just couldn't track the football, whether he lost it on the lights or whatever the case may be. But he had a touchdown there. Just dropped that one. And so I think that that could have been a huge play. But still, you see that Zacchaeus was second behind Terry McLaurin as far as yards are concerned. Expect for him to have an even greater role as this team moves along into the postseason. One of the notes, just looking at the rushing game for the Washington Commanders here, is that you see that B-Rob only 5 carries for 10 yards today. I'd like to see him start to get a little bit more of a rhythm. I know that he's kind of been a bit off track, but hopefully he is able to just get healthy, get ready for this next week coming up. We didn't see Jeremy McNichols or Chris Rodriguez today, so that is one of the things to note. The one turnover that we did have, that's Jamison Crowder on a muffed punt there, so did not secure the football. And so that was our one turnover today. Defensively, look, Mikey Samra still was all over the place. His 3 passing deflections. I'm very impressed with just how he has progressed as a rookie. And defensively, I know that, the Commanders gave up the 19 points to Dallas, and Dallas really controlled this football game for the most part, which we're going to jump into the stats here in a second. But if you look there at the scores or the box score here, and you see that 3 points in the first, 3 points in the second, 3 points in the third, and just 10 points in the fourth, the Washington Commanders defense held very well. I think that there were times where obviously the Dallas Cowboys just couldn't get the football into the end zone, so they turned it over on the fourth down, conversion or whatever, couldn't get it converted. That was before half, so that was a big stop. And so I just think that the Washington Commanders, even though they were giving up the field position and Dallas was driving down the field, we had some great stops here, and that's what you want from this defense, keeping this team to 19 points. Now, you would not like to give this to the Dallas Cowboys, who are struggling like this, but still, I like the heart that I saw from the Washington Commanders defense today. Trey Lance, he did start for Cooper Rush. We talked about this. He actually had a pretty good day. He was out there dealing for the most part, 20 of 34, 244 on the day, did have 2 sacks. And then Rico Dowdle, look, he did have a touchdown. He had 72 yards. But you see that the Dallas Cowboys, even though they rushed for 150 yards, they only got 1 touchdown out of it. They only had a 3.8 average. And for the most part, the starting running back here, Rico Dowdle, only had a 3.3 average. And so that was good to see. Trey Lance did get a little loose with the 4.3. And so, look, that was good to see because the Washington Commanders have really struggled with that. In the secondary, you see that Jalen Tolbert, he had a pretty good day today, 4 receptions for 98 yards. But for the most part, again, just good defense from the Commanders. And when you look at it just statistically, and we start to look at just the breakdown as far as the team stats are concerned, I think that one of the key takeaways is that, the Dallas Cowboys really dominated as far as the time of possession is concerned. I think that that was really an interesting stat for the most part, that the Dallas Cowboys had the ball for the most time or most of the game, which was, I know that that's a stat where generally when Washington Commanders win that, they generally win the football game. And so this is another game in which we lose that. The Dallas Cowboys 37-03 to the Washington Commanders 22-57. And I think that came down to just not running the football like we usually do. Next up, I think the third down efficiency. And so that was interesting as well, too. And that goes into time of possession, only 6 of 13 for the Washington Commanders today. Dallas, not too much better. I mean, they were 7 of 17. We did have that big fourth down conversion. I talked about that, which led to the game-winning score. But look at the total plays, 75 to 55. So Dallas had 75 plays compared to our 55 plays. We gave up 6 sacks allowed total on the day, which is something that we knew we were going to struggle with a couple offensive linemen coming in that were doubtful. Did talk about that. But once again, the Washington Commanders, look, they pull it out. It wasn't a great, pretty contest today, but the Commanders do get it done. And this is good news because we're the 6th seed. And again, we're taking on either the Rams or the Buccaneers. Don't get me wrong. I think that this Washington Commanders team is going to be tough on anybody. I think that they are ready for anybody. They want all the smoke. I just want to see this team get healthy. And so, once again, I think that Jaden Daniels is going to be fine. I think that this is more of a plan. Obviously, we didn't need to secure a playoff seed today. We already had one. It was just the better seeding. So I think that this was the right move to go ahead and rest Jaden Daniels. So let me know in the comments what you are thinking about this recent win. We'll be talking a little bit more about some of the key takeaways from this game. And then we'll be shifting focus as we find out tonight who we're going to be playing. I'll start to break that down as we get ready for playoff weekend. So once again, this is Rico. This is Washington Commanders Insider. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right. Peace.